Hey everybody, welcome back to IP Farms. Well, it went from wintertime to summertime in a matter of a few days. We made it to almost 72 degrees a day. They're calling for upper 60s, low 70s all week with hardly any rain. I'm gonna take advantage of that. We're gonna go down here in the fields and see how wet things are. I would love to get a head start on some spring tillage while we had a few days of beautiful weather like this. It hasn't been that wet, honestly, this winter, but with the snow we had the other day and a couple of rain events, I'm sure it's still too wet. I'm gonna cross my fingers anyway. We did go get the radiator for the 655 Alice track loader. I'm gonna call it the chunk of gold. So I've got to get that in sometime this week as well. So let's see if the golf cart will start, and if it will, we'll go check some fields. Well, I should have had him paint it gold, as expensive as it is. No, honestly, it wasn't expensive at all compared to what I had been quoted. I just don't like spending those pennies, as you all know. I mean, that broke my heart to shell out that for this. But he put a new 5-core in it, up from 4. We kept the cost down, messing with the tanks. Didn't do any new tanks or anything. He repaired all the bad spots on them, checked them over. Everything's good. Put my fan shroud back on it. These fittings down here have been cobbled together. He got those back like they're supposed to be for the transmission cooler. So I had talked about this when we pulled it out, saying I was going to put an electric fan on it. And I think I'm just going to go back with the original since he fixed the shroud, mainly for time, because I didn't realize when I took it out, uh-oh, boy, that scared me. I thought that was going to fall over while I was sitting here blabbing on the camera. Anyway, didn't realize it was going to be down so long, so we're just going to throw everything back together and get it back going as soon as possible, because we've got issues, not issues, but we've got something that we might really need that loader for coming up in the future. So let's go check some fields. Well, this golf cart is probably the most cantankerous piece of equipment that is here on the farm. So we're going to try it. Most of the time when I figured out if it won't start, if you roll it a little bit, like get the motor going while you're mashing the gas, it'll take off, but it won't sit here and start itself on its own. It was rebuilt like probably 30 years ago, so it's probably wore out, the rings being 2-stroke, but we'll see. If not, we'll have to push it off and maybe it'll start then. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get lucky. Nope. I don't know how I did this last time. I mean, really, what sense does that make? That's my luck. I mean, the engine's turning over, the battery's fine. I don't know. I figured that out though. Used to it was so aggravating. Sorry, I didn't mean to spin you so fast. Be up there in the barn, want to get on and go down the field for something, and it would not crank for anything. And then me and my buddy were pulling it down here when I moved it from the barn down here. We drug it with his truck. Got down here close to where I was going to park it, and just happened to hit the gas. It fired right up. And so I thought, well, from that point forward, I'm going to try to push it when we start it. And if it won't crank, just like you saw, if I get off and push it 6-8 inches and spin it while I got my foot on the gas, it'll fire right up. Gotta put some air in the tire. I don't have the fancy microphone, so you just have to hear it the best you can. Trying to get around all these trees that fell over. I showed you in a past video. This one right here is, I'll show you. Well, maybe the shadow. Yeah. That was huge, but you see how rotten the middle was. And like I said, those honeybees were fingering the screen. We're living right there in that hole. They hadn't been here in 2 years, so I don't know where they went, but mess to clean up. Well, I'm trying to keep that sun from blaring in your face, but the orchard grass isn't too bad. It's spotty here or there. Those couple of really cold nights we had about a month ago really wreaked havoc on it. It kind of turned it a little bit brown, but of course the onions are coming, but I don't see any real major weeds in yet. So let it get on up a little bit, put some nitrogen on it and see what happens. It's gonna be rough mowing this, I believe, but it's what do you expect first year stand. I may end up overseeding it. It's not that wet out here actually, so I could probably get out here and overseed it and go ahead and get some nitrogen on it at some point. I don't know, I'm talking out loud, probably no overseed. Might as well just get off the golf cart and walk and talk a little bit. So yeah, it's way too wet. I walked up here a minute ago off camera towards the top end of the bottom here, and it's pretty dry. I mean, I could definitely work that, but you get down here where I'm walking right now, and I don't know if you can hear the water squishing under my feet, and it's standing over here. Still lingers from the local agency deal where they went through here. Still wants to pond up right here, so this is going to take a while to dry up, which even, gosh, last year when I worked this up for the corn, dry as a bone up there, and I got down here and it was a little wet, so no tillage. But give you a little more insight on the oat situation. A couple of you have made some comments in that video where I sold the 180. Yeah, I have numerous customers that want straw, so I think I've got every bit of straw that I can make sold, and then they want oats themselves. And I've got an idea with some others that I didn't get to do on my first oat crop failure, which also was brought up in the comments. So now y'all gonna have to hear me explain that for the new guys. So in the beginning, my first crop ever here was oats. We did very well. Had a little strip out here in the front field where I just showed you the orchard grass. Had issues with the drill, issues with grass, sod clumps, but it grew, and it grew very well, honestly. Did really good. But when it came time to harvest them, Nelson didn't have the combine ready. So what happened? The weeds took over. They went way past time. When I finally did get Glenda out there, it was a nightmare. I had to go through and kill off all the weeds with a backpack sprayer. But we made some, put some in the hopper, and I made all my money back with that straw that I sold off of that. So that was the first crop failure. The reason to tell you that is because I wanted to do something with those oats that I didn't get to. Didn't have any place to store them. You know, I ditch dumped them. Yes, I did. So learning curves. But we're going to give it another shot, mainly because of the situation on the other channel with the house, which has changed drastically from what it was. So I don't know how that's going to transpire, exactly how much time it's going to take of mine. But I think our best bet is to continue on with the path we're on. So enough babbling. Let me walk all the way back down there and get the golf cart, and we'll go around the other side over here and just look at everything again. Go from there. While we're doing it, see, this here is fine. You can actually see the dust. That wouldn't be a problem. But you get down here this lower corner, and it's really bad. I'll walk this edge over here and see. I may just have to leave that bottom corner out. They're not gonna like that wet line area anyway. But you guys just love when I talk so much. That's all the video's about. If anybody's got a better idea of how to detail my shenanigans besides me talking so much, let me know. I probably shouldn't ask that. But anyway, headed back to the golf cart. We're gonna go over here to the other side. I think if I left off this corner like I was saying, I might be okay in this field. The middle one's gonna have to dry up a little bit more, so we might look at it. If we don't get that rain on Thursday like they're talking about, by Saturday I might could actually do something in that field as well. Once I get it, you know, worked up a little bit, start drying it with air, it'll be okay even if we get a shower or rain. We'll see. Well, I'm sure it's 10 minutes or more of me babbling, but I think we're just going to call this one right now. I'm not going to put anything else on it. We'll just call it, you know, prelude to spring tillage. I believe if I play my cards right with this warm weather and we don't get much rain on Thursday, I think we can get most of it worked up. That'll put me so much further ahead with everything else I got going on. Then we'll wait another couple of weeks, let that dry out, see the temperatures and what the range forecast is, and I'd love to get my oats in by mid to late March. So we shall see. Stay tuned for some videos coming up on, I got to take the loader off the 1086. I'm not going to bounce around down here doing all this tillage work with it. That loader on, I got 3 cylinders leaking on it anyway, so I need to get those off and repaired. Hopefully we'll get my buddy's backhoe up here in the next couple of weeks now that's warming up. And then of course we got the radiator I showed you in the beginning to put back on the 655, so that'll be back going. And not sure how much actual clearing we'll do down here. I might tinker with the hillside up there a little bit, but I think that unit's going to be utilized quite a bit up around the barn area there, and you'll understand more about that as time goes along. So that being said, if you're interested in any merchandise, go over and check out farmmerchbin.com. I'll put a link in the description. Hats, shirts, decals, magnets, koozies, water bottles, license plates, keychains, you name it, Allison can do anything. Scroll through there and check out the other channels as well that do work for a lot of great YouTube channels. Tell them Nelson IP Farm sent you. I really appreciate everything, guys. I think we're getting kind of ramped up again. I don't know that the content is exactly what you guys always want to see, but it's like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get. So that being said, we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. Until then, thank you.